we're just keeping it real. Most people are like, now's the time when we get dressed to go out and party. And Jason and I are like, put your phone away. Put it
Just
away.
put a link to the
Put it
YouTube.
away, right? Jason are like, what time is it? It's 7 o'clock. I think it's
I
time
had to
to
check
go to
my work
bed.
messages.
In fact, we've been taking this class, our life book class, and the leaders, they're like all over each other, and they teach us how to have an extraordinary relationship.
Go to the Four Seasons every week, every Thursday.
Yes, and they're teaching us how to keep it hot and spicy. And we're like, oh, no, not that kind. And we're like,
Put some hot sauce on it.
we're tired. We put our hair in a ponytail.
Not me.
Although we've decided your little goatee
We're gonna
is
shave
not
the
ready to
silver
have
out
a
of it.
little ponytail.
We're gonna shave it.
It needs to be a little trim.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna shave everything except for 2 lines coming right out from the bottom of my nose.
And what will that do?
It'll just look like hairs growing out of my nose. They look like little spider legs hanging out all the way to my lip.
Have you ever been talking to someone and they have something like hanging and you just want to go,
I don't like tell them or do that to them.
both.
I do not want to do that to them. I think that comes from when
Like your grandma. You said your grandma used to do that
it's
to you.
you and my grandmother want to pick
I
other
don't
people's
pick
noses.
your nose. I do not pick your nose. Have I ever picked your nose?
No, but you did pick that one. You scratched that one guy's nose in Colorado.
Who?
The guy at Craig Hospital.
Oh, I did do that.
Say, hey, Tater. Who is it? Who is it?
We brought you to bed with us because we're tired.
It's been a long week,
We're just being real.
and I need to shave.
Because, seriously, on date night, it's not always about having some fabulous date, right? Okay, Tater, turn around.
Tater,
Can
go
you
lay
turn
down.
around?
Go lay down. Go lay down.
Okay, or you can lay down here if you would like to.
Lay down. Go lay down.
So we thought maybe we might read you some bedtime stories.
The best of Callahan. The
So-
Anorexic Cafe.
John Callahan. It's John, right?
Yes.
John Callahan, he was a disabled comedian. He was very, very funny. And in my life, so many people always said, oh, you gotta meet John, you gotta meet John. Well, I never met John. I wish I would have met John. Why didn't I take the opportunity to meet John? Why didn't I do that?
Well,
I just never
things,
did.
Things come up.
And then I was watching Netflix and I saw that John has a movie. And it's called He Won't Get Far on Foot. And it's funny. It's with Phoenix.
River Phoenix. No,
River
no,
Phoenix?
it's not River Phoenix. Joaquin.
Joaquin Phoenix. You know, the one that Kelly Ripa named her son after. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Kelly Ripa named her son Joaquin after Joaquin Phoenix. And did you also know that Joaquin Phoenix had a cleft palate, I believe, when he was younger?
And he is not a paraplegic.
John
'Cause he
Callahan
is
was a
Joaquin.
quadriplegic. Oh, you think you're so funny. You think you're
'Cause he's
hilarious.
Joaquin.
Ah, I get it.
Joaquin
Joaquin.
Phoenix.
That took me a while. That one really took me a while. Okay, so let's see what
John
we got.
Callahan, was he a paraplegic or a quadriplegic?
I feel like the camera needs to be a little closer.
Well, we're going to have to get a different tripod.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see what you here. Well,
Unless you want me to just grab the camera.
Well, what do you have? Let's see what you have.
Well, I've got cartoons.
Okay, what's this say?
The first one is a wheelchair in the desert with some horses and the sheriff on.
And it says, don't worry, he won't get far on foot, which is what the whole movie is about. Don't worry.
That was the name of
he
the movie.
won't get far
I opened
on
it up to
foot.
the name of the movie.
I told you, because that's what it's all about. Thank you, universe. That's how my life works these days. What's the next one? It's going to have something to do with my life, too. Go.
This one says, "Run for your life! It's the Sally Struthers car alarm." And the car alarm is blaring. And for only 25 cents a day, sob, you can feed a child who, sob, has no shoes, sob. So that's funny, but it's an old one.
Do we not understand that one? I
Well,
don't think we get it.
But you always get tired when you see the Sally Struthers commercial on TV back in the 90s.
Did you get tired, or were you?
I was like, oh my God, I turned the channel.
I donated.
I did not.
I did.
I started a
until my
nonprofit.
English teacher said, "What crazy person would spend their money and donate to that?" And I was sitting in class.
I must be crazy.
Thinking, I do. I'm the one.
Well, you were trying to do the right thing, because at that age, everything you try to do is helpful. So this one, I just read it while you were diatribing.
At that age, it's helpful. What is it at my age now?
Now you pick. You're very selective about who you give your time and money and energy to, and you make sure that where the money goes.
But I'm still trying to be helpful.
Right, but you vet where the money goes. So if they're spending we don't know that she was spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads, because PSAs are free. But
and why does everybody get so mad at Sally Struthers? I mean, she was just she's the messenger.
I think
she's the middle woman.
I know, but part of the message...
She was Archie Bunker's daughter.
But part of the message is feed the children, and she was getting bigger and bigger as the ads went on.
Oh, now you've just taken it too far.
Maybe.
You totally have taken it too far.
I'm saying what the people were thinking.
No,
and it was probably a thyroid
I was
problem.
not thinking that. Were you thinking that? None of us. Not a single person
here. There were people
here.
that I've heard in my
Not
crowds.
a single person.
And I defended Sally all the time because we were tight. Because I liked Archie Bunker. Archie.
Yeah, Archie and I were best friends. My best friend, Archie.
He was an electrician, Archie. This one's deep. This is the thing that I liked about Callahan. Oh, Johnny.
Oh, Callahan. You make it sound like
he's Irish.
Callahan. Oh, Callahan.
But, so you've read the tabloids. It's a court scene, and the attorney's talking to the jury. He says, you've read the tabloids, you've seen the TV movie, you've watched the talk shows, so it's up to you, jury. What's the verdict? So, because they don't pay attention to what happens in court. It's all what happens in the media and
I don't think this is translating.
It is.
You've read the tabloids, you've seen the TV movies.
Because it's hard to get a fair trial, because
the talk shows.
They tell you don't pay attention to the media, only pay attention to the evidence.
It's up to you.
So he's telling the jury, I know you've been out there watching all this stuff, even though the judge told you not to, because he's letting you go home every night.
No, that's not true.
Because this is back when Geraldo Rivera...
I've been on a jury before. Do you remember when I was on it? Do you remember
I
when I was on a jury?
And Jana is a rule follower. But I don't think I know a lot of... 9 out of 10 people are not rule followers. Jana was a rule follower, and she would come over every night and be like, I can't talk to you about what I saw today.
I didn't. I did not tell
And I was like,
them.
I'm your husband. I'm not going to tell.
It's kind of like when
I was told by the judge not to tell him.
It's kind of like when you come home from your men's group, and I say, honey, what did you talk about today in your men's group? And you say, what goes on in the men's group stays in the men's group.
We've got a dome of confidence.
I'm sorry, Jana, but you are a female. And therefore, you are not privileged to the information that goes on in the men's group. You are a rule follower too. And I'm noticing that we might need to trim your mustache.
We need to shave the whole thing off.
Why shave the whole thing?
Why
not just trim it?
I feel my breath.
Why not just give yourself a little bit of a haircut?
Any shift in the wind in here, which there's no wind, but I still feel it feels like things are crawling on my face. Here.
I feel like things are growing on my face. And on that note, we're going to sing it. We're going to save that one for next time.
No, you tell me about what you think about this one.
What happened to
I'm
and?
out of birth control pills. Try wearing these. And he hands her some Birkenstock sandals. Because that's what Keith sells.
Some what kind?
Birkenstocks.
Oh. And that's supposed to chase the men away?
Yeah. I mean, she is like...
Now, Keith, that's not funny. That's not funny,
That's
right?
not funny, Keith, because I
There's
love my
nothing...
Birkenstocks, and I'm sexy in them, and Jesus was sexy in them. They're not birth control. They are... What? I am. You love my Birkenstocks.
Yes, you think my Birkenstocks are sexy.
You think my Birks are sexy.
That's why that's not funny. I'm beginning to think this John Callahan had no talent, is what I'm beginning to think. Stop. You think that's a woman?
Look at the hair.
No. I'm turning the page. We're not going to go there. Okay. This is called the Low Self-Esteem Cafe. Yes, we're open for what it's worth.
That's funny.
Is it?
That's funny. It reminds me of the Saturday Night Live skit where the guy looks in the mirror.
You have a little something in your tooth.
It's probably green smoothie. I've gargled with it. It's nothing like brushing your teeth and then gargling with a little green smoothie. I feel like we ate dinner a little too early. Remember Saturday Night Live?
We had dinner at 4 o'clock.
It was on special.
What's that buffet? The Golden Corral.
Oh,
don't they have a special at 4 o'clock or something?
Yeah, early bird.
Although I don't really particularly like to go to buffets, especially now during the pandemic. It's really not my thing. It's never been my thing, because when you go through a buffet and you go to like get the croutons or the salad dressing, and there's a big old piece of broccoli, or there's a big tomato slice in your
potatoes or something.
I don't like that. And then I feel like people pick up the ranch dressing and they put it on their plate, and then they put the dipper in the Thousand Island. Like, they don't ever put it in the right dressing slot. So then they're mixing their dressings. And sometimes... What, are you laughing at?
Yeah, I'm laughing at your story.
You're not even joining the conversation. You're reading the book. What are you reading?
I get livid at those buffets when people are mixing things.
Right?
Sloppy. I call it sloppy spoon.
And they're not croutons. They're like little noodle. They're almost like little dried noodles. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, or the crunchy noodles.
And the crunchy noodles. And those seem to be just everywhere. Nobody ever puts those...
It's from the kid that goes in there and does like this.
And they just grab them with their hands. Sometimes you'll see that. And sunflower seeds. If you go through a buffet, you always see sunflower seeds. And then they dip them, they like accidentally sprinkle them in the cottage cheese.
Yeah, because they put them behind the cottage cheese and the dressings. So you have to, and they have a little tiny spoon for those, because those are expensive. So you have a little tiny spoon. You get a big heaping spoonful, and you're like,
and it's always too much. Yeah, you always try to fill it as far as you can.
What happens when you focus on don't spill?
Then you spill.
Right. You got to focus on stay on the spoon, stay on the spoon.
And then a little bit dribbles over, and then the next thing you know, and then, okay, so I mentioned cottage cheese earlier.
I'm the guy that always scoops out the chunks of cottage cheese that have the seeds in it that I spill in. Does that make sense?
Well, that's kind of...
But I like cottage cheese.
I don't know if that's good either, though.
Cottage cheese on everything.
Because then what you're doing is you're scooping out seeds. You're mixing up food that you don't really need to be touching. I know, is what you're doing.
When it comes to cottage cheese, at like a...
Cottage cheese, it's warm. It gets warm.
I know, and that's what I love about it. And it needs
to be cool. It needs to be nice and cool.
So that's home cottage cheese.
What's the difference?
Well, home cottage cheese needs to be nice and like almost like really cold, refrigerator cold.
Okay.
But buffet cottage cheese
It needs to be warm, like it's been
room
sitting
temperature.
out.
You need to have like a little,
almost like it's about to spoil.
a little kind of like waterish coming up to the top, like it needs to be stirred.
A little soupy.
But you
it
don't
needs
stir
to be
it.
a little
You just
soupy.
kind of scrape it off. And
Yes.
You're like, I'm gonna serve this.
Almost like you could slurp it, like.
Yeah. Somebody asked me to give them a little scoop of cottage cheese. They get this scoop, I'll get the next one.
Yes.
They should have gotten up and gotten their own cottage cheese.
Yes. and then you can get more to the bottom.
Right. But sometimes the top has the most flavor because sometimes people will drop those sunflower seeds in there and then just pick them up with their fingers.
And
the
that's
salt from
enough.
their fingers.
Dirty. It's not salt from their fingers. That's called booger
All
extract.
kinds of salty substance on top that gives that cottage cheese the flavor.
That's called money residue.
Oh,
and
stripper money.
Oh my gosh, we've taken this conversation.
It went downhill. I'm sorry. Turn it off. I don't know if anybody's even listening, but turn it off.
We're a little far from the camera, or we don't have our glasses on.
I don't have my cheaters on. I can't see.
We are so old. Earlier we were talking about Archie Bunker, and Jason called him Arky. He goes, my friend Archie Bunker. I'm like, it was Archie Bunker.
Well, he went by Archie on the television, but in real life, sometimes he let people call him
Yeah,
Archie.
because you were tight.
We were tight.
You and your best friend Archie Bunker. Archie.
What's up, Archie? Go get
Bunker.
Where's Meathead?
What was his son really named Meathead?
Yeah, it was
I was a little
Archie,
bit-
Bunker, Edith, and Meathead.
I was a little bit too young
And
for
Gloria.
this show. You know? I was-
Gloria, where is Meathead?
Gloria, I think you got my number. Gloria, da-na-na-na-na-ba-ma.
We're losing
We
battery.
could have bedtime karaoke.
Oh,
that
that
might
sounds
be
wonderful.
fun. Yeah.
You could sing into the microphone.
Here, where's my microphone?
That's not it.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well,
It is time to go. We're losing battery.
To leave you, but I really
Good night.
say good night.